Hi, this is Jamie Diaz with Barks to Basics. I am here today with Amanda Kreiner and Elise Samet, and we today are talking about therapy dogs. So I don't want to say this is a hot topic, but I do feel like it's kind of a hot topic, and I also feel like a lot of people have no idea what that is. So I know we get clients calling all the time. I want my dog to be a therapy dog, and they actually want service dog. And they say, I want a service dog, and they actually mean a therapy dog. So we are going to clarify all that. And then Elise works for an amazing organization here in South Florida for therapy dogs. So we're going to dive into all that as well and what it takes to be a therapy dog. But Amanda she's the director of my service and therapy dog program at Dynamite Dog Training and Lucky Dog Training Club. So, Amanda, I know you've talked with people extensively about this, but let's just start as, what is a therapy dog?
So a therapy dog is a dog that goes out with their owner and they volunteer their time to assist other people and provide them with different sources of comfort. So that can be from visits at hospitals, VA centers, children's centers, schools, just to provide them with comfort. You know, they get excited. You know, people feel that comfort. They feel good when they see those. I mean, I train dogs. I have a dog. And when I go out and I see a dog, I'm like, can I pet your dog? I'm that person, right? And people feel that way all the time. So in stressful situations, they're really used as like emotional support animals, really is what we use them for. So for the most part, that is what they're going to be doing, is going out, providing their services on their own time. It's the program that we use with Canine Assisted Therapy is pretty relaxed. So they get to go to places they want to go to or do a big events too that provide services to other people.
Yeah, I usually say to my clients, I'm like, what do you actually want? A therapy dog is helping other people.
Yes.
Service dog is helping you.
Correct.
So I do think it's confusing, but a therapy dog, dog is helping other people. So I would also say that every dog is not a candidate for a therapy dog training, because I was just telling you guys before, I got my dog Ritz, who's 14 now. I think I used it as an excuse to have my husband get me a third dog, which he fell for it. And I said, this dog is going to be a therapy dog. Literally, this is what I said. And we got Ritz, and he was so cute. And I found out he was like terrified of a lot of people. He didn't like kids. He tried biting kids, and he was a puppy, and he was just not socialized properly. So that went out the door. So Ritz is not a therapy dog, nor have any of my dogs been a therapy dog, because Ritz didn't really like being pet by other people. So we are going to bring Elise into this conversation, because we do want to know if you are a therapy dog, and, you know, I want to be a therapy dog. What does that entail, at least for your organization? I will also say I am on Canine Assisted Therapy. They are the organization here. I'm on their advisory board, and Amanda and I both do their evaluations, which we'll get into as well as part of their program that you have to complete. But Elise, you are the director of programs and development for Canine Assisted Therapy. So she has been there how many years now?
Almost 6.
Almost 6. So I feel like I've been there quite a while too. I don't know.
We're like a family, right? We're like a crazy pack.
It is. It is a family. Yeah, but
family
if
affair.
I'm like, I have a dog, I think they're going to love doing therapy work. What would be, do we call you? Like, what are the first steps that we get into?
Yeah. You know, the process is going to look a little bit different depending on the organization, right? I think as a reputable organization, there's a few things that are super important you want to look for, whether you come to us or any other organization. As far as our process goes, it's kind of a 4-step process, right? You have to meet some prerequisites. You have to attend an orientation. You have to pass our evaluation, and then you have to complete a mentorship. So what does that look like? The prerequisites are very important. So the main thing is that your dog has to obtain the Canine Good Citizen certification, or CGC as we call it. Which you two are very familiar with.
Yes, that's through the AKC. Just if you don't know, it's 10 things that you have to pass. Basic things, I feel like, for your dog. But if your dog can't pass those basic things, it's probably not a good fit. But I love that I don't know if other organizations do that, but.
Again, it's going to vary, but it's something that I would recommend looking for in an organization. Because to be honest, whether you go on to do therapy work with your dog or not, having that certification is just a great thing. It gives your dog that like basic foundation. But we require that because it ensures that your dog has those basic skills needed to go into a facility setting, like a hospital, like a school, right? Like a nursing home. So it's a super important one to have. The other prerequisites that we require, your dog has to be at least a year of age and has to have lived with you for 6 months. So puppies, right? They have a lot of energy. So we want them to be a little more mature, have some time to get that playfulness out. And we want you to have time to form that bond with them, right? You need time to have that connection with your dog. When you're out volunteering as a pet therapy team, you're their advocate. Like, your dog's going to be looking at you for direction, for confirmation, affirmation, all of that. So you need that time. Our orientation, super convenient. We offer them online once a month. Anyone can attend.
Offer them online. Because at least they have a, what would you call it? Like a home base that
Yes.
the offices are there. There's like a mock hospital room and all of that there. So I always thought you had to go there. So you do the orientation.
We do the orientations online. We want to make it convenient. People work. You have families. You have lives. So you hop on an orientation. We tell you everything you need to know. What does our evaluation look like? What to expect? What we're looking for in a therapy dog and a handler. Oddly, they're similar qualities, right? And essentially, it's true, right? Essentially, everything you need to know to decide if this is something you want to proceed. And then you pass our in-person evaluation. Every single dog that is a therapy dog in our organization has come through our doors. We have all touched personally, literally touched and pet and observed. We want to ensure the quality of the dog. I mean, it's for their own, it's for their well-being, right? And then our mentorship. We get you out in the field. You go on some visits with other teams. You really get shown the ropes. You are not on your own. And I think that's another important quality to look for when you're deciding to join an organization. Make sure there's staff or volunteers available to guide you through the process. We want to set you up for success, right?
I think the hands-on part is like super important.
Yeah.
Like even for dog training, there's all these like different schools and stuff, and there's like very little hands-on things. So I think that's so important. Like, oh, great, you passed, you did everything. But now it's like, no, it would make me so nervous going into like a hospital setting or something if I didn't know what to do. So I love that you guys do that. How many like other organizations are there? I know there's some, TDI and some other like national ones. Like what makes you guys different? Are you only based in South Florida?
Yeah, so there are a few national ones, which, listen, the more therapy dogs we have out in the community, the better. So the more the merrier. But there are some national ones. We are located in Fort Lauderdale, our home base, but we do serve Tri-County area, so Dade, Broward, Palm Beach. We've kind of ventured into some other counties as well, but South Florida is our main
And then
area.
I know besides doing the and we're going to get into the types of dogs and stuff like that. But besides, I just do want to talk because I think it's special what you guys do with the happened with COVID, like the virtual sessions and the parades. And are those still continuing? Like, what is that? Because some people also may like that option.
Yeah.
Instead of going.
Part of what we do is kind of responding to the needs of the community, right? So during COVID, we couldn't go in person to visit anyone. So we started our teledog program where dogs would hop on Zoom calls, which were very popular during those years.
That's so fun.
And yeah, it was super cute. So we do still offer the teledog program. We don't get a lot of requests for it, but it is an option. And we also started canine caravans. So, pre-COVID and now post-COVID, we go into hospitals and we parade down the halls and stop in rooms, and the dogs, it's so cute.
This stuff just gives me the chills.
I know.
I love it.
Cute.
Like, this is why we do it. Well, I do what I do. Like, I love this. I have like butterflies over here. I'm like, keep talking. Tell me about it.
I know it's one thing among many that I love. Why I love working for canine assisted therapy, but so during COVID, the pet parades, we kind of transitioned into cars, and we would like decorate our cars and drive slowly through communities, senior communities.
With their little heads out the window.
With the dogs' heads out the window. And like senior, they would all
slowly driving.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Safety first.
Under 5 miles an hour. Probably more like 2. And there's so many opportunities and fun things you can do with your dog. It's such a rewarding experience.
It is, and I think it's so helpful for people. I will say, too, I have done things with other organizations through the years, and the one thing that I do love about canine assisted therapy, and for any organization that you find. So obviously if you're not in South Florida, you're like, great, they're in South Florida. Those other organizations, these tips are meant for you to find one that aligns with things that they do, because I think it's super important. And I know that I used to do other things in organizations, and they were like really like mean to the people and not nice at the evaluations. And it was just gave you like an icky feeling. And I would send clients there and they'd come back and they were like, that was the worst experience ever. And it's positive reinforcement for the people and the dog. So I love that your organization is so great with the people and the dogs. And like we always say at our evaluations, hey guys, think of this as a practice. Like everybody doesn't pass the first time.
No.
Which I do want to get into a little bit with Amanda, because, people are different, and we've seen some people get really, really upset, and some people really understand. And I would love to kind of have everybody understand like where that comes from. And we really are coming from the dog. I would say that, and you just did an evaluation last night, which said all the dogs were great. But I would say one of the main things that I see, two main things wrong with, or why people can't progress, is the handler. So they're really rough with their dog. They're like pulling them. And I get it. They're nervous and they really want their dog to pass. But if I'm like in the hospital and I see like an owner walking down and he's like pulling on his dog and just kind of like being rough with him, it's not going to give me a great
feeling.
And
you never know what people are going through. Like you could be going through a hospital with someone has like abusive trauma, and then they see they're yanking on the leash yelling at their dog. Like you can tell your dog to sit, but then you can tell your dog to sit. Yeah. It makes a difference. So that is a huge thing that we always evaluate the owners on.
Yeah, that would be number one. And number two would be that the dogs don't like it.
Yeah.
So maybe, and both of you guys, some things, let's start with the owner, handler. And this is more for having people, if your dog really loves this, like we would never want a person handling skill to kind of leave them back. But what are some things you guys have seen, or like even tips that you can give people? I'm sure you've seen things through the years. And what if it's just not a good team? What do you do if the dog is like loving it and the handler is just like having a really rough time?
It's tough. Honestly, that's the hardest part of this job, is when you get someone that you can't pass and the owner wants it so badly. Then we put you guys on them. We're like, hey, go break the
amount
news.
of times I've had to tell the owner the bad news at
Go
that
break
place.
the news,
Yeah.
Amanda.
Can we talk about that too? Because you guys have us who are like certified trainers that do this. And I know there was a time that maybe that wasn't always the case, or maybe you had somebody or not. Like, why do you think that makes a difference, or does it make a difference that it's just not the evaluators of the program evaluating?
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. And, for one, we at Canine Assisted Therapy, we're not dog trainers. We train you in the field of doing therapy work with your dog. So we know what's required of you in that facility setting. So having a dog trainer who's specialized in dog behavior at our evaluations, number one, it ensures safety, which is super important. But, it also allows an opportunity for the handlers to get some tips or to learn a little bit more than what we may be able to offer. So it's,
and me, it's hard for me not to give tips to people
Yeah.
that don't want them.
But it's so true, because like there's a lot of times, as you mentioned, you don't pass the first time, and we'll see that the dog has like so much potential, and all they need is the handler to just work on a few things with them, and they'll be great. But it's getting that handler to, be open to that and not take it so personally. Like it's like your kid, right? You're like, my kid's the best.
And honestly, if they're like, in my mind, if they're really serious about this and they are a good team, sometimes we give them the advice, make sure you're a little lighter with, your directions, things like, and they never come back, right? Yeah. It's the ones that take that time. I'm thinking one in specific. I can't remember his name. I'm not going to say his name, but that he was kind of a rough handler a little bit. Great, loved the dog. Like the dog was great.
Yeah.
We gave him a couple of tips on, hey, like it just comes off a little rough when you say this or this. And he was like, oh my gosh, it does. Like he had no idea, because so many owners don't realize that.
Border was it?
Yeah, from us. Yeah, his dog had trained with us, and he came back, did the evaluation, and was just like completely different. Is a great team. Like sometimes it's just the deliverance that sometimes the owners don't realize that's how they're coming off, because
so true.
it's the way also you were raised with your dogs at home. They're like, sit, come, but some dogs you don't have to be like that with. Yeah.
And it's funny because I know who you're talking about, and that handler is so good interacting with people that he's visiting with too.
Oh,
so I think it was totally
great.
one of those things where you
It just clicks with them.
yeah,
They're like, oh.
and you come in nervous, like all they and you're more nervous than your dog, and that energy is translating through that leash, and
I think ours are like quaint and like so unfortunately you have to do the evaluation with other people there, because we have to see how your dog is with other people that are strange, with other dogs. But I think this a lot in my group classes too. A lot of people get like, I know you were a little nervous today. Amanda's pits were sweaty the first time she did hers. So like think about, and we know each other really well, right?
Yeah.
So think about how nervous that these handlers have. Now they're on stage with their dog that you
And we're all
said,
staring
my
at
dog
them.
is the best. And they know like the potential or not or whatever. And they get so nervous that it kind of takes over. So it's like an unfortunate thing that they have to go through that. But it's also important because you are going to be in front of people.
Yeah.
You are going to be doing these things.
And you mentioned the leash too. Like it goes through the leash, where even last night, one of our volunteer coordinators, Pilar, went out and talked to an owner and was like, hey, your leash is really short, really tight. She goes, just relax. She goes, I'm just nervous. And she's like, it's okay. Yeah. But then you notice when those dogs come in and they're not used to that literally a tight leash, they come to say hi and they feel that pull and they're like, what the heck, Mom? Like, what's going on? So it really does make a big difference if you're on the same page with your dog, right? It's just natural. And we always tell them during the evaluation, hey, we're about to start. Just chill. It's not a pass fail.
It's not like
we want to
CDC.
see this natural relationship with you guys, which is me personally is one of the biggest things I evaluate on is like, are you in it? Is your dog in it?
Yeah.
Are you both enjoying yourselves? Right.
Are you making this corrections of the situation? And for the most part, most people are very open to that. But I think the even harder. Okay, so people we can work on. Most people are open. They'll I think some people use other trainers, which is fine. But a lot of them are. We do virtual sessions all across the country.
Just so you know, just
all across the world. A little plug, but. A lot of the trainers are like stricter. Like, guys, you're being a therapy dog, right? This isn't a service dog. You have to have control over your dog. You have to have decent obedience, but you do not have to be in a heel right next to, to your side. So I think if people would just relax a little bit like that too, it would help. But the worst part is when the dog doesn't like it. And I have to say this too. Most people will not notice the dog doesn't like it. I think that's the hard part, because you think your dog is fine and he's not barking, he's not growling, he's not moving away from people petting him, but he like does a shake off. He's tolerating it. Right. So I think those are the hardest ones. And I'm sure at least you've come across so many. Like, how do you break it to somebody that like this, I don't want to say may never, because we have had some dogs that they're just very nervous in that situation, and they're like, he loves going out, I promise, and we work through. But there are some dogs that like really do not like it. It's the owners that want it.
Yeah. Well, and that's why our evaluation is not a one-time end all. Like, you can come back to our evaluation multiple times, because dogs have bad days too, right? Like maybe they had an off day. I mean, last night it was looming like thunderstorm,
Even the car rides. Some people drive like 2 hours to get to you.
We were like, please, rain, hold off, because dogs are affected by just so many outside factors. So sometimes it's just a case like the dog comes in, they're having an off day, and they just need to come back. But other times it's not the case, and the dog just genuinely is not right to do therapy work. I think in those cases, like, honesty is the best policy. You need to be honest, with the handler, and of course, be gentle about it. I mean, we want all of the dogs that come through our doors to succeed. Like, we want to see this work for you, but we are never going to do it at the expense of your dog,
which I love.
And that's another key thing to look for in an organization.
I would, they're not just want you to join and pay the fees and do the thing. Like, unfortunately, your dog is not enjoying this. I'm sure I'll say this before again, but even for the 5-second rule that I say for like a stranger. So this is just like a test I do for like your dog, you do for your dog, somebody else's dog. You see a dog come in, even at the evaluations, we can pet them for 5 seconds. We stop. What does that dog do? A lot of times the dogs will just kind of slowly walk back by the owner. Other dogs will kind of push into your hand, and they love that. I think it's a good, like, at least initial test.
Indicator,
An indicator to see, does this dog actually like being pet by other people? I say this in training all the time. Strange dogs don't want you to pet them. They don't. There are those ones that love being pet no matter what, but I feel like it's more rare than not. I mean, what do you think as far as?
Yeah, I mean, I have a dog at home who I pet her because she's my dog and I love her, but she doesn't necessarily enjoy it. And I'm like, love it. Just let me love you, right?
I'm going to do it anyway because you're my dog.
But what's that? Remember Elvira, the cartoon? Was it Elvira? Was that her name? She's like, I'm going to hold you and squeeze you. No,
that's me with Raja.
And she was
I'm literally like, love me.
I'm
and
showing
she
my
like
age,
moves a foot away.
No, I think I'm older than
But
you.
like the hardest part is like the behavior that we notice that the owners don't. Like you mentioned them walking back to their owner. A big thing that they do that people don't realize what it is the shake off. Think of someone touches you and you get the heebie-jeebies. That's kind of what that shake off is for a dog, right? Or some dogs, like Jamie did this analogy the other day.
Is it good?
Yes, because it's all I think about now. So if you know me, if you touch my hair, you might lose a hand.
I hate people touching my hair.
Do not touch my hair.
My kids, my husband, don't touch my hair.
And it's not because it's done. I just don't touch my hair. It freaks me out, right?
Yeah.
So she made this analogy where it was, what if I walk up to you on the street? A stranger walks up to you, looks you in the eye, and runs their fingers through their hair and says, hi, how are you? Creepy, right? Like even right now I'm like, gross. Yeah. We don't want your therapy dog to feel that way. And you can tell when they do. They come in and they're like, I'm not quite sure about this. Yeah. You want to see the dog come in and be like, people, this is great, right? So it's those little tells that as owners, unfortunately, they don't see because owners aren't trained in behavior and training,
or
right?
they don't want to see because they want it so bad. Yeah. It's like the baseball, like mom or dads are like, you never made it as in a certain sport, and now your kids are in it, and you're like, you're gonna do this, and you're like,
in their footsteps.
So crazy, and I'm living vicariously through you. So I think that's like a totally valid. I love that analogy.
It freaks me. Still to this day, I'm like, ew.
Yeah. It's important though. What about breeds, Elise? Do you see any? I'm sure you see some. I mean, we always see the Goldens and we always see the Doodles.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
But have you seen any have you noticed anything?
Well, I mean, we don't breed discriminate, obviously. Right. I mean, if your dog has the right temperament,
Hold on, this isn't your client,
This is not my client.
She needs a front clip harness and a trainer. Sorry. This poor lady, I don't know if you can see her
she just walked
on
by.
this video from Elise. She's literally getting dragged. If we weren't in the middle of the podcast, I would run out there and be like, so sorry. She literally was like almost came into the window with her dog pulling. It was a Golden.
I missed that.
Oh my God, it was so funny. Do you see any, I know you don't breed discriminate, but do you see anything like if somebody's out there and they're like, I have a Doberman or.
There are some breeds. So actually last night we had a boxer. And
shout out Ranger.
I know, shout out Ranger, the boxer. So boxers are a breed we typically don't see come through our doors very often. The few that haven't been successful at passing the evaluation. So we had a boxer last night. We're like, oh my God, this just goes to show.
Was he older?
He was 3. He's 3, so he's still pretty young.
Yeah.
But he's very like interested in everything, came in, wanted to sniff everything. Normal, he's a dog,
yeah.
right? But he was just like the happiest, most obedient, just the drooliest, mushiest thing. Just
and he still had that like goofy
like he's a
energy,
dopey guy,
but he controlled it, and it was special.
He's gonna be so fun to see on his visits.
Oh my God, yeah. So we typically, boxers are a breed we typically don't see. But Chihuahuas. So I honestly, I feel like
I had one, and my husband loves them. I just not my favorite.
I'm not a little dog lady.
You have a Chihuahua?
I like the big one.
I have a Chiweenie, and he's Grayson's, and he does not look.
And he's my daughter's, not mine.
Yeah.
Well, it's. Yes, there are some breeds that have temperaments that lend lend it.
But sometimes you get like for boxers.
Yeah.
Like boxers are usually crazy. They're
We have a
jumpy.
pit.
What about the shepherds?
We have shepherds.
Yeah.
We have, so again, it goes back to temperament and personality. That's the most important thing.
So what temperament are you looking for?
Well, obviously friendly, right? The dog has to be friendly. They have to enjoy attention, and not just from their family and the people that they see on their walks every day and the people that are in and out of their home, but from strangers. You mentioned that little test, like pet a dog, give it a minute, see what it does. If the dog comes back to you generally.
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 I thought you were saying genuinely.
Well, and it could be both, genuinely and generally.
Yeah.
That means that the dog probably, is friendly. So we're looking for dogs friendly dispositions. We're looking for dogs who have like predictable and reliable behavior. I mean, yes, they can have an off day. That's okay. Like, we're not looking for like perfect service dogs. But like, for instance, my dog, who you guys know, when I adopted him last year, I was like, oh, maybe we can do therapy work. But he has like impulse control issues. So sometimes he listens to me, sometimes he doesn't. Like, that inconsistency is not going to do well in a therapy setting. So it's important that your dog has that like reliable behavior, predictable.
Does your dog have to get along with other dogs?
Your dog does. Like, they don't have to be best friends with dogs, but they can't be reactive and like aggressive, reactive in the aggressive sense. Like, it's okay if they get excited, right? They see another dog like, oh my God, that you can control, or you can learn to control through socialization, et cetera. But they do. They have to be genuinely comfortable around other dogs. You may be volunteering on your own, but maybe you're at a facility and there's like a resident dog that comes out off leash, not trained. You want to make sure that your dog is not going to lose it.
And you guys are always looking for more therapy dogs?
Always. Unfortunately, our dogs have, shorter lives. So there's constantly a turnaround.
I know. I see your posts sometimes.
I know. It was a rough 6 months. So
what would you want people to know, take away from this about your organization and just in general about if your dog wants to be, or if you want to be, if your dog comes to you and says, I want to be a therapy dog. What would be the biggest takeaway that you would want people to kind of remember?
I mean, I think the first thing is be honest with yourself. Like, is your dog genuinely friendly, right? I mean, does your dog enjoy being around people? But also, if you do have a dog with the right kind of temperament, just know that this is like the most amazing, rewarding thing you can do with your dog. Our dogs have so much love to give, and there's so many people who could use a little bit of that love, and sometimes we as humans just don't resonate with someone the way that a dog can. So I would say, if you think you have a dog with the right temperament, I encourage you to explore this opportunity. It is so rewarding. It can take as much as your time or as little as time as you want. We love it if all of our volunteers volunteered once a month, but
I was going to ask you that too. Yeah. Like, do you find people, they pass, I have a therapy dog, and then you don't see them?
It happens, sure. But, this does take a little bit of a commitment, right, from the handler. So 9 times out of 10, or sometimes 7 times out of 10, the people that are taking the time to do this, it's because they want to do it, right? So, we're so fortunate to have amazing volunteers who, like, they are the heart and soul of our organization. They're the ones out there, like, doing the work and making people smile. So just look into it if you think you have the right dog. It's so beautiful.
So if you're lucky enough to be in Florida, or at least this area, South Florida, what is the best way to contact you guys?
Go to our website, catdogs.org.
And by the way, it's cat, we say, because it's canine assisted therapy.
Sure,
so a lot of people, we'll be talking, oh, you got to go to cat. And they're like, no, I don't like cats. I'm going for my, so it's canine assisted therapy.org.
Are there therapy cats?
There are. We actually entertained the idea because we met a cat who
no offense.
Yeah. I love cats.
We met one cat once that we thought would be nice with people.
I love cats. I've had cats my whole life. Other staff members, we are pro cat.
I just want to say that for the record. Canine assisted is pro feline. PF.
Yeah, PF, exactly. No, but we specialize in therapy dogs. But yeah, you can go to our website.
It's canine assisted therapy.org.
It's actually catdogs.org. So CAT, singular, dogs, plural, catdogs.org.
Okay.
You can call the office. Should I do like a shameless plug? Like
Yes.
954. Can you like have it?
Yeah, I'll have it coming across.
No, you can call the office
Yeah.
and speak to any one of us. We're a small team, but we are family.
Strong and mighty. I mean,
Strong and mighty.
Yes. Thank you so much for. I mean,
Thank you,
Amanda
ladies.
and I both also volunteer our time because we love it.
Yeah.
We
We're
love
so
we love
grateful.
doing
So fun.
it. Even those extra stuff. We love anytime Elise asks me, I'm like, yes, I'll do it. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah. It's just Amanda too. We kind of do the evaluations.
Oh, speaking of evaluations, child therapy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely talk about
So
that
maybe
real
just
quick.
add that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if your dog passes for therapy dog, at least in canine assisted therapy, that does not mean you can automatically go into schools
Yes.
with children.
Thank you for bringing that up. I mean, and just really quick, obviously kids have like way different energy than an adult. Like a 5-year-old is different than a 15-year-old and a 50-year-old.
Yeah.
So we do have an advanced evaluation. If you want to work with kids, your dog does have to pass it. We work with local organizations. We have the Boys and Girls Club of Broward County coming, I think, next week to help us evaluate some dogs. And it's a really fun evaluation as
My
Amanda,
kids
and,
love doing
yeah.
it. They get very upset when they have
It's
to miss
super
it.
fun. And the dogs we're bringing in are very well, they're experienced dogs. They've been working in the field a while, so we're very confident that they're all going to pass. But we do want to make sure that the dogs are comfortable around that energy.
No, I'm glad you brought that up
Yeah.
before we went because I think it's important. Your dog may be great with people, but kids are a whole
So different.
Yeah.
another animal.
And it's okay.
literally.
Like, you can still volunteer with your dog, even if kids
Even if
aren't
they
their
don't
thing.
love
Like,
kids,
you can
yeah.
just stick to the adults, you know?
Yes,
so
you
there's
don't have to
something
do
for-
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's something
and
for
so I
everyone.
love that you guys do that too. But I would say we love you guys. I support you 110%. Amanda
Thank
too
you. Thank you.
for the program. So you can find them at Cat.
Dogs.
Why don't I know this by heart?
And
So
it
I'm
was
always
actually,
thinking
I'm
it's
going to show my age again. It was actually like a cartoon back in the day, Cat Dog.
Cat.
Yeah, the cat dog.
Yeah.
It's like a wiener
Yes.
cat dog.
Weird, right?
So
Yeah,
you can
so
find,
weird.
canine assisted therapy.
Cat dogs.
You can find us on anywhere you see podcasts. So Spotify, Audible, Apple Podcasts. There's a bunch of others. Also, we will post on our Instagram and TikTok, which is at Dynamite Dog Training, and Facebook. So please follow us there. But thank you again, Elise. Thank you, Amanda. If you are
welcome.
interested in therapy dogs, definitely go for it.